Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Overly Critical Hyperanalytical Movie Club live stream. I'm your boy, Young Wolf, and I'm here with my boy, Young Matty.
What's up?
We are the Comfy Boys, the Safety Boys, and we're here to chit-chat, maybe give you a little relief from all the chaos that's happening in Washington right now. Washington, and shit's crazy. We're not a political show, so we won't get into it. It's nice that the Blues had so many victories, and it's pretty petty and shitty of all these stupid idiot Trumpers to be acting the way they're acting. And we'll leave it at that. Anyway, other than that, in the news, as far as movie news is concerned, it's a bit of a slow day. There's a couple things I want to cover, but we can get to that in the next episode. We won't take up too much of your time. But we're going to go ahead and jump right into our ARCHENEMY review. And then after that, we're going to give our thoughts on 1D. I know we're not ones to beat a dead horse, but we're going to kick the shit out of that horse here after our ARCHENEMY review. So, you know, if you're looking for a welcome escape from all that shit that's happening in Washington, then come join us. Come hang out with us. We did some efforts prior to this stream to try and make sure that our audio levels were of a nice balance. If you're watching and the levels seem weird or whatever, please feel free to chime in and let us know if we need to up our volumes individually or whatever. We're still trying to figure that out. The StreamYard platform doesn't really give us a very good option to monitor our levels, so we had to do it kind of a hodgepodge, as you probably saw us jumping on before, looking all high and drunk. It's like neither of us are high.
Now we're stone sober.
But now we are. Just kidding. Anyway, without further ado, we're going to talk about the Joe Manganiello. How do you pronounce his name? I have a hard time with that.
Joe, I don't know.
We're going to call him Joey Mang.
Joey Mang.
We call him Joey Mang. But anyway, we're going to talk about the Joey Mang starring superhero drama ARCHENEMY, a small indie film from the producers of Mandy. And what's that production company called? Stereo something?
SpectreVision. It's Elijah Wood's like horror, weird ass movies production company. He does with two other guys. I totally forget their names, but
yeah. I gotta say, I dig the angle. I dig where they're coming from with SpectreVision. I gotta watch more of their movies. But however, I was thinking we could break it up into like maybe 3 categories here. We'll talk characters, we'll talk story, and we'll talk execution. Sound good to you?
Yeah.
But actually, prior to that, just give me your feelings on how you felt about the movie, just in general, real quick. Hot take.
I rewatched it for the second time before we started, because after I finished it the first time, I was like, meh, because I liked Adam Egypt Mortimer's first flick, Daniel Isn't Real. I think he did one before that, but I've only seen Daniel Isn't Real, and I thought that was really cool and just a weird movie, but very well done. And this movie looks the same, but upon watching it the second time, I enjoyed it a lot more. I feel like I knew what I was getting into. And it wasn't anything to break the mold. I feel like you've seen this movie before, but maybe told from different perspectives. And when I go into a movie like this, when it's like, this guy thinks he's a superhero and he's a bum, I'm like, don't do what you think. I didn't want it to go a certain way, you know, like, and I was happy to report that, you know, I'm just, that's what when I was watching, I was like, oh my God, this is like Indy Hancock.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
had that thought too.
And I do think the guy's a very good visual director. Upon the second viewing, I enjoyed it a lot more because I knew what I was getting into. But I did enjoy this movie. I think SpectreVision does put out interesting flicks that I don't think this movie would have been made without them and the other people involved. So it's good that they give a voice to indie filmmakers who have maybe not a cool take on something that's already been done.
Right.
That's what I'll say.
Yeah.
So, because I have seen it before.
Yeah, for sure. My hot take, I really enjoyed, for the most part, I really enjoyed it quite a bit. I think, you know, there are certain things we'll get into about script and the execution here in a minute. But it's wild. It's an out of nowhere kind of movie. It's obviously kind of an under the radar kind of thing. Maddie brought it to my attention. The trailer was awesome. The poster art is amazing.
Yeah, dude.
And Joey Mang, he's yet to have really a lot of moments to shine. I feel like this dude is ready to act. He's ready
Yeah.
to show up to work. He's ready to deliver, man. And we've only seen glimpses of him here and there, and on TV and stuff. So it was nice to see him getting a lot of things to chew on throughout the movie, and I felt like the directing was really nicely done. It wasn't breaking the mold, like you said. It wasn't bringing a whole lot new to the table, but from an indie film perspective, it's nice to see films like this that can be executed with, like, one, they're like crazy and wild, but also some of the effects and stuff that they're able to do. And I thought it was really nice that they balanced some of the more superhero stuff in the animation segments with the more down to earth kind of drama stuff. And that was like kind of cool. It was an effective way to have like a low budget superhero movie, so to speak. So that's my hot take. Let's jump into the characters. How'd you feel about the characters and the villains, the heroes, the main guy? Did anybody stick out to you, or did you feel anything?
Oh my God, what's his name? Dude from It's Always Sunny. Glenn Howerton. Yeah, I thought he was great. I'm always surprised by that guy, even though I know that he went to like Juilliard or something, or like a prestigious acting school or something,
right?
Or maybe it was in England or something. But I'm always surprised by him because I only know him from It's Always Sunny. Mm-hmm. And then I'll see him and stuff like, oh, this guy's a really good actor. Like, why is he not in more stuff? And I've never seen AP Bio, which I heard was good. I never saw it. Right. But him in this is like kind of like what we'll get into a little later. It's his Pedro Pascal Wonder Woman villain.
Yeah,
he's got the frosted tips. He looks ridiculous, but he's menacing, dude. There's a scene where he sings this song, and it's just like his voice is great, but you can just tell this guy is off his fucking rocker, and that's what I loved about his character. Joe Mang. Since I can't pronounce his name.
Manganiello.
I was psyched when he was going to be Deathstroke and whatever movie he was supposed to be Deathstroke in forever ago.
Right.
That they shot scenes for. I was like, oh, this will be sick. This guy like looks the part. He'll be like good. Even though I haven't seen him in a lot of stuff. I thought he was really good in this. I do think he might not have had a lot to work with script-wise.
Yeah.
But I do think he did his best with what was there. And I like the guy that plays Hamster. I've never seen him in anything else. I looked up his IMDb. I think he's done like a couple other things or like a television series or something. I thought I think I liked everyone in the movie. I don't think at any point I was like, oh my God, get this guy off the screen. Even, what's his face? I can't,
we suck at names, man. Yeah, the dude from, damn it.
Well, I mean, it's just like, you don't see these
Shearer, something Paul Shearer, right?
Paul Shearer. I thought he was
awesome.
over the top. Yeah, and awesome.
But it's small role.
But yeah, I liked everyone. I thought everyone did a really good job with what they had. It's
I led with that because I wanted to talk about. I thought the performances in this movie were just really great. I think it loses a little bit of weight in that second half, or in the third act, if you will. But the character introductions and the scenes that they're brought in, it's got my girl from Wu-Tang in it. I'll get better at names, folks. I promise I will. But it's got one of the young ladies from the Wu-Tang American Saga. If you have not watched that show, you better watch that show. It's really great. And, it's around. It's not going anywhere. At least the first season. But anyway, she was really good. Her introduction with Glenn Howerton, I mean, there was some real chemistry there. She, along with the guy who played a hamster, they have really good timing. They can sell these. I mean, the dialogue was really good too. The script, and I felt like the directing was done really well. But this performances really stuck out to me there at the beginning, and I was just like, oh man, like I did not see this coming. I really loved getting into the film right at the beginning there. And Joey Mang. He, like you said, I think, he didn't have too much. It seemed like at certain times he was doing a lot of brooding, but when he was really meant to sell his story as this like superhero who's been transported to our dimension from his dimension and everything, he really sold that story, and he sold it to a point that you're like, I don't know if he's telling the truth or if he's just like a very compelling, like, lunatic hobo.
Yeah.
You know, because he did it so well, and I was just thinking the whole time, like, man, put this guy in something else, more and more and more. He's ready to shine. He's really ready to go, and you can tell here. So from there, we'll talk about the story. You know, it like you said, it wasn't something that seemed or felt really incredibly new right at the beginning. There, I was like, oh, they could really take this anywhere. And I was kind of hoping for some things, but I wasn't getting my expectations up just because I was enjoying it. And I was just like, okay, let them do their movie. But it seemed like it kind of had a bit of an anticlimactic climax, in my opinion. What do you think?
I mean, basically, doesn't it opens with just this animated sequence, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, let me
So
just
that
say, let me just say, sorry. I really dislike when movies start with some stupid character narration. However, I do always give the filmmakers kudos for playing that into the reality of the story, or playing that into a scene. And, you know, it goes from that monologue, not to spoil too much, goes from that monologue into him actually telling the story to some guy at the bar, you know. And I always really appreciate that, because I hate that, like, hey, welcome to my wacky world and this is how I got here, like, bullshit narration. But anyway.
Yeah, to me, it kind of started off like a video game would, you know, like you're meeting your character, here's the backstory, and then you're plumped down in this world or whatever, you know. And that's what I kind of liked about it, because you didn't really know much going into this. And I thought like the animated sequences kind of led you to give this otherworldly feel of, and kind of solidified Joey Mang's character, you know. Max
definitely.
Fist is his name.
Max Fist.
Which
It was
I
very
thought
cool.
was
I like how minimal it all was too. You know,
Yeah.
they played on your imagination, his world of chromium and the superhero he was prior to coming to Earth and everything. It was, and you know, I really, my least favorite part in Mandy is I feel like that animation part in it is kind of drawn out. I should go back and watch it again, because maybe I'm handling that unfairly. But
I mean, I love Mandy, but I'll say this: I don't mind the animated scene. It's just that long opening, and it doesn't get any shorter. I rewatched it, and I was like, all right, I even know what's coming, and I know it's going to take a long time, and I'm still like, all right, I'm ready for all that cool shit to kick off. But like you said, I think, like you said, it's you know, when you've seen so many movies and you know, you've written scripts or made a movie or you make art or something, you always want to see something done differently. And you're always like, this is what I like. This is what I would do. But you kind of have to let the director make his own movie. And I was along for the ride on this one. I thought the story, like we had said earlier, it is Hancock, basically. It's, you know, except isn't he a god in that, not a superhero or something? I forget.
him
But
and Charlize Theron are like gods, and I was like,
yeah, I mean,
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
You've seen this movie. He's just the drunk guy, and then, you know, hooks up with this kid who kind of believes his story and is like getting him all this notoriety. And like Stefan was talking about Joey Mang's performance, there was a scene where they're at this abandoned mall, and he fights a car basically. And there's a scene where he's just like getting his power meter up, you think. And it's just a great scene of like what Joey Mang, in my opinion, gave to this movie and this character, and what he like, you know. Then that scene alone, I was hooked, like, to see where else this would go. And I would also say, like, the story is like, you've seen it before. This isn't breaking the mold. It's someone else's take on it. I do like that there are a lot of, you know, blues and pinks and purples in this movie.
Yeah.
Because you don't really see that color in like superhero movies, and he also did it in Daniel Isn't Real as well. It's kind of like his shtick color. He's kind of pulling like an Argento Suspiria, like bringing these colorfulness to these otherwise like drab superhero worlds, I guess. Even though I think that the Marvel universe is kind of getting into that colorful costume stuff, but I guess so more the DC side. Would be the like more drab, like Superman's suit isn't super blue and it's not super red and yellow, and, you know, the classic colors of Superman. So
it also, you know, there's a visual, maybe like you could say like a visual thread from the way that Mandy was handled. It had a lot of that Italian horror influence with the colors and the lighting and stuff, and that aesthetic has seemed to carry over sorry, knock my mic, has seemed to carry over with the colors and the animation and stuff. And I really enjoy those stylistic choices. Because I think if you watch Mandy, you're just like, what is this animation coming out of nowhere? And why am I sitting through this? I was more Nick Cage, you know?
Yeah.
But to see the continuation of that kind of aesthetic through some more of SpectreVision's films is really kind of cool. I think it's part of their voice, you know, and they probably already know that. I'm not saying anything they need to discover, but it's really cool. And that scene in particular where he fights the car was interesting because I liked the tension that was mounting between the argument between Hamster and Max right then, and then that car, like, why the fuck is this car back here? And then like you're thinking that, and then he stops and he's just like, what the fuck is up with this car? And I was just like, you know, that's like a total setup for the next part of the scene or whatever. But there are often times I'm trying to have a conversation with somebody and some asshole's doing some dumb shit like that, you know? So it was like I sat back and I was like, oh, you've done fucked up now, buddy. Max is gonna take you down. And so it was really fun. He tore that car up real good.
Yeah.
It was real nice. And so in terms of like the execution of the film overall, I mean, I feel like we kind of covered it. I don't know why I had to break it into categories. I was trying to be more official, but we don't do that. This ain't a type A show. It's a type B show. We do what we like. And anyway, so go ahead.
I also did like the action. There's a pretty cool slow-mo action scene towards the end of the flick that I thought was really well done. And I thought a lot of the action was really well shot, where they could have just easily have done a shaky cam on a smaller film, because it's probably easier to do than do a cool stunt choreographed slow motion fight scene. Right. But I thought that one was handled really, like, I mean, I just didn't expect the action to be that well choreographed through a lot of it.
Yeah. That was very cool. I thought that was a really standout moment. I also really enjoyed the showdown between, hold on, I'm going to look this girl's name up. Just bear with me. I got the IMDb right here. Just listen to my voice real good for a real second. It's not loading. It's not loading. I'm trying to pull her name up. It's not meant to be.
No one.
But anyway,
no one's top billed in this movie.
And Indigo, the character Indigo, she's awesome. Huge crush on her. Forgot her name. But that little showdown that they had, the moment I was like, okay, how are they going to get out of this? How are they going to, like, you know, who's going to get it or whatever? And, you know, he starts singing this old timey tune. And I just imagine, like, if you were having a shootout with somebody, it's not really about, not that I know video games, but if you're having a shootout with somebody, it's really about the timing of, like, you know, they're going to pop out, you pop out and get them, and one of you guys is going to get them. And I just thought it was handled like, I mean, it kind of turned out as would be expected, you know, good guy against bad guy. I don't want to spoil too much, but I just thought that was like a nice little moment, you know, nothing new, but him starting to sing, and it's really up to that whoever gets around that corner first. And it was a fun little moment. Not only that, but then the intensity of the performance, because it doesn't lead immediately to either character's death. There's still kind of a little scuffle after that, and the intensity of that scene, I was like, I could do more of this balls to the walls goofiness. Like, the movie is intensely dark and dramatic at times. That Paul Scheer, I think it's Paul Scheer, Scheer. Apologies, I get better at names.
We're new to this.
You know,
it's been a while.
The drama in the film, balanced with some of the more goofy moments or some of the more like high concept ideas dealing with the superhero aspect, the interdimensional stuff, was just like very surprising. And so I found that to be really entertaining. It was engaging.
Yeah. I watched the whole thing. I was like, yeah, all right, cool.
Solid. You know, and then I want to say that very last shot, the city in the very last shot is stock footage of Denver, Colorado.
Oh, nice.
So for our Denver audience, definitely check this movie out. It's worth a watch, but it has a nice little treat there at the end of some pretty sweet drone footage.
Was the rest of it filmed in Denver?
No, the majority. I waited and read through the whole credits. The majority of the film was shot in LA, and my only guess is that they wanted it to not be LA. You know, like in terms of
they probably just put random cityscapes and
just
to make it you know.
Yeah, that very end shot had me bugged out because I was just like, that's my city. And, you know, Denver in the last, now, I don't know, it's been going on. The boom's been going on almost 15 years now, maybe maybe a little less, but Denver has really blown up, and the look of the city is, somewhat futuristic. It's like what Dallas looked like in RoboCop, but we got that here now, and it's pretty well untapped in terms of seeing Denver on screen. Look for my movie Colfax and 15th coming out here soon.
Dang,
but so that was nice, and it was a very original film. Out of 10 chromium crystals, what do you give it?
I'll give it a 6 out of 10.
Yeah. Because I was so enamored with the beginning, the execution at the beginning, the directing, the acting and stuff, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 6.5.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I liked it, but like I said, I've seen this particular story in Hancock, and I think that maybe I'm sure there's more of this crazy person who says he's this kind of person, and the whole movie you're like, oh my god, I hope it's true,
Right.
So
that really worked for it, amidst some of the parts that weren't very original, we'll say. It really worked. The performances and the writing really lent to you don't really know, and that was probably the strongest aspect of the film, is you don't really know how it's going to turn out. But yeah, I recommend watching it. If you're looking for something to watch, that's fun. Right now it's a rental. I'm sure it'll pop up on Amazon at some point, or Hulu. But if you feel the need to support SpectreVision and these type of films, then absolutely rent it.
I bought it because I like SpectreVision.
Yeah, there you go.
So they make some interesting flicks.
Maddie's a supporter. I should have done that. But I enjoyed it. So I recommend it, and it was a lot of fun. And I want to see Joey Mang in more movies. I want to see everybody in this film in more movies. Glenn Howerton especially. He's a fantastic villain. That guy delivers.
I actually like to see this director with a budget. Yeah. Just because I feel like a lot of his ideas would I'm sure this film was totally different, and then it's with most things you have to edit to get what you want made.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming it's just, maybe with a bigger budget, what this movie could have looked like. We could have seen those shots on Chromium.
Yeah, no kidding. The costume was dope, I thought.
Dude, I know. I get upset at the little burn moment. I was like, really? To me.
I also want to say, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, there's also he gears up for a Punisher moment in it, and the Punisher suit, his Punisher suit is pretty sick. But it's the Punisher costume vibes that he wears in Chromium, and that you get to see a little bit of in the flick is kind of cool. I would have liked to have seen something incorporated in his Punisher mode.
He looked like a current gen WWE wrestler costume. They kind of give him a little bit of a budget nowadays, it seems, with cool capes and what. So he did kind of look like in a good way, like a badass wrestler for a moment in his original costume. And then when he suited up with his armor and had those serious Punisher vibes, it was pretty interesting. And it's just if anything, it's such a good platform for Joe Manganiello to have shown his chops and stuff like that. And I just, that guy's a star, man. I foresee him being in some pretty cool shit. He would have been a good Nathan Drake if they didn't go the younger route.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Oh, you don't like Tom Holland?
I love Tom Holland. He's just a little guy.
It's true.
But
no, that's
okay.
Been fun.
Video game movies, who knows?
That's true. That's so true.
ARCHENEMY was fun. Check that out. SpectreVision dope. I'm going to start checking out more SpectreVision films myself. I'm going to check out his first one, and we'll talk about that a little later on. To round out the end of this, we'll probably keep this one a little bit short. We're just coming back. I mean, the holidays really wiped me out. I don't know about you.
Oh, yeah.
But
I got a positive COVID test, so I've been out of commission I got 3 more days of seclusion, quarantine.
Everybody send Matty well wishes. He's looking good now, but you never know with this virus. No, I shouldn't say that. Knock on wood.
What kind of health problems do I have now?
But so just getting back into the swing of things. Thank you, those of you who have viewed so far. To round off the show, sorry, I was about to lead us out. To round out the show, we're like I said, we're gonna kick the shit out of this dead horse And we're just going to share our thoughts on Wonder Woman 84. I know you've all heard it on the page. You've all heard it on many other pages on social media, whatever. But here's our 2 cents if you are interested. Maddie, why don't you go ahead and take it?
I mean, it was trash.
With a capital T.
With a capital T, a capital R, capital A, capital S, capital H. Trash.
Trash.
I mean, I say that, but so the thing was, I was telling Stefan earlier, I did have fun watching it. I was on a plane ride for a very long time. I thought it was entertaining. At no point was I like, oh my God, fuck this movie. I got to turn it off. Yeah. But I got to finish it for the live stream and, right. Talking with the Superhouse crew and stuff. Cause you got to, we're big nerds and we got to address this stuff because we have nothing else in our lives at this point. So why not?
I've been wearing this Wolverine sweater for the last 5 days. I'm never taking it off.
I mean, I had fun watching it, and Stefan and I haven't given our New Mutants review, but I remember telling someone I saw it, and I was like, yeah, I really enjoyed it. Like, is it great? By no means, no. But I really enjoyed the flick. I've never seen a horror superhero film before, and does it hit the moments of horror that I would like it to? No one's going to make that movie. That's a hard R X-Men flick that will never be made. But however, because however, Wonder Woman, I will watch New Mutants any day over Wonder Woman 1984. And I thought about rewatching 84 just to see if it was as bad. And I just don't think I can do it yet. There will be a rewatch. I think when Wonder Woman 3 comes out, there'll be a Wonder Woman 84, and then gearing up for 3. But I just, I don't, there's just so, it's just long and it's just long. And I don't,
in my opinion, unless you're one of these super monumental directors like Denis Villeneuve has become, or Iñárritu has been, or, the more classic Kubrick or something like that. Unless you're one of those big directors or it's a historical movie, there's absolutely no reason for your movie to be more than 2 hours long. Maybe Marvel.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, but I mean,
that's my bold
I don't
statement.
mind a 2 hour and 30-minute flick. I'll sit there for it. I just rewatched the Hobbit movies. I will sit there because the Hobbit movies are fun. They're not great, but I'll sit there for them. But it's just, you got to give me I don't know. I mean, there's moments in the Hobbit films where I'm like, oh my God, it's I'm having an emotional reaction to these characters, and I didn't care about anybody in Wonder Woman. Right. Maybe the little kid of Max Lord's character. I can't. I was like, yeah, this kid just needs a dad, and this guy's a fucking villain. I'm like, I feel for this kid. All he does is want to hang out with his dad, and all his dad cares about is being fucking on top because he got treated bad as a little kid.
Yeah,
I'm like, I feel for that little kid.
Yeah, my biggest gripe. Sucks to jump from the kid being my example, but my biggest gripe with the DCEU films, and this is probably my hipsterdom is about to show, but these are some of the most basic ass generic background characters you could ever possibly have. What is going on with casting at Warner Brothers? It's terrible. They're not even as good as some commercial actors and super generic. So my biggest problem is the heroes some of the time, in my opinion, a good amount of the time, actually are pretty cool, pretty interesting. But I hate the world that they're protecting. I cannot stand the universe that they're protecting. I want the villains to win in these movies, but all the villains are pretty lame for the most part. But yeah, in Wonder Woman 84, I was really, the first half of it, I was really not into. I was just like, this is horse shit. Really.
I found it fun.
But yeah, exactly. It's after I had a little break and once the momentum picked up, really when the action started to pick up,
too.
Honestly,
he did drugs
I smoked
to
some
enjoy
weed
this movie
to, make it a little better. The second half I was able to have a lot more fun with. I actually enjoyed quite a bit of it. I think the supporting cast really sold the rest of the film. Pedro Pascal, Kristen Wiig, and Chris Pine. I love Chris Pine. He can sell anything. You put him in anything with the shittiest script and he'll make it good. He's amazing. Same with Pedro Pascal. He really brought some texture to that villain. Same thing with Kristen Wiig. She had the least amount of inspired characterization, but she did do well with it. And honestly, I have a crush on Cheetah version and non-Cheetah version.
My favorite moment from Wonder Woman 84 is when they steal the plane that he can
Right.
just suddenly fly, even though it's brand new technology.
Easy. I'm gonna try
Whatever.
it.
It's a comic book movie. I can let this stuff slide.
For sure.
And they're like having this discussion about like, can they lock onto us or something? And he goes, "Well, shit." And it was just like the best comedic moment because
Yeah.
I didn't expect him to say it, and I was like on the plane like laughing out loud at that moment. It was I wasn't embarrassed. I don't care.
Yeah,
But
you gotta,
it was a great.
it's the
That's
age of
my
COVID, you
favorite.
gotta
That's
find
my
out.
favorite moment from a superhero movie. Like
Ever?
just a comedic. No, just from Wonder
Oh,
Woman 84.
right.
Like I didn't have
Gotcha.
any other thing that I liked in that movie except for his delivery of that. Well, shit, you know,
Yeah.
or whatever he's or well, damn, or whatever the fuck he says in
He's
it. It's
great.
just
He's great. And also, here's another one of my gripes. It's actually the same gripe I was just talking about the basic ass casting. There is no way in hell I'm believing Gal Gadot is going after this dude at the end. The body swap character. Like, I have asked a few female friends and family members if this dude is attractive. I don't know. Maybe he is, and I'm sure he is to some people, you know. But I'm just like, there's no way this frumpy looking normie guy is catching Gal Gadot's attention. And not only that, I don't know. Now I'm just gonna go like ramble on about it, but it's basically the same gripe about how basic the casting is in these films. I just can't stand it. The museum woman, the manager at the museum or whatever. Here's another thing, and I'm just here to gripe now. Um, they have this whole moment where they need to get this like profound information off of this shaman character. Oh, I found a shaman who has this thing, and rather than just letting that be the instance where it's just like some guy who is some kind of like modern in the city shaman, rather than having some Mexican guy with dreadlocks or some descendant of an actual shamanistic culture, and then just play it off and be like, oh yeah, here's something, because you're using this guy just to deliver some exposition anyway, rather than just going basic and letting it happen. This is my problem at its core with DC films, is the shallow pool of inspiration that they pull from. They would rather have the joke about a guy who's pretending to be a shaman who's obviously not a shaman, just to have that little joke and then go to their expository thing, rather than casting somebody who's like maybe Mayan or maybe of like some indigenous descent and actually give like a nice little scene. Doesn't even have to be anything because they're just delivering exposition, but they would rather sit on this rudimentary stupid joke about this guy who's pretending to be a shaman, and then all of a sudden it's like expository and he's just some random ass dude with a dreadlock wig on, huge in frame, you have to sit through while they're talking Wonder Woman and whoever, I forget who was in the scene. But anyway, to finish my gripe, that is some bullshit, man. It was so dumb, completely unnecessary scene, let alone the way that they handled it. And anyway, in my opinion, the DCEU is like scraping the bottom of the fucking barrel. And this kind of like soured my taste on anything that's coming out. I'm pretty excited for the Snyder Justice League just to see what it's going to be, how it's going to be different from the one that we got. But I'm not really chomping at the bit for it at this point. You know, I'm just like, I don't know.
I mean,
those are my gripes.
I feel you. The only thing I'm excited for is the Batman.
Yeah.
So,
But I do got to say, yes, it was pretty enjoyable in that second half. I will, once you get over all the goofiness stuff, and I actually kind of liked, I actually really thought, what was his name? Max Lord was pretty compelling. Well, Pedro Pascal's portrayal of him, I thought was pretty compelling, even though it was like littered with a lot of goofiness and stuff. Another strike it has against it is it's set in the 80s and you barely got any like 80s music or atmosphere or aesthetic. It's just like, we're just, there was that one moment in the mall and that was it. And I'm just like, to me, the whole film was like kind of a big flop, but fun near the end. I thought the action was handled really well, and nowadays it's like, oh, well, they have the money, they could do that. But this I thought was really well handled, directorial wise from Patty Jenkins. I thought the fight between Cheetah and Wonder Woman was awesome. That armor looked amazing. Would have been nice for it to actually be effective in some way. But obviously lots to gripe about the film, but there were a lot of things that I found very enjoyable about it, and it's definitely not the worst DCEU movie out there.
Suicide Squad.
And yeah, Suicide Squad. But see, actually, I've said it before on the Superhouse podcast back in the day. Suicide Squad is not good, obviously, right? But I have never seen a movie where one of the main or maybe supporting characters, what was his name, Inferno or something, the Mexican dude, Jay Hernandez. Yeah. I have never seen a Mexican superhero turn into an Aztec god to fight a demon on screen. That's shit was dope. That, I mean, it wasn't the dopest of dope, but you just don't see that outside of maybe a Robert Rodriguez children's film or something. Like that was awesome. But yeah. DCEU, I don't know. If you guys want to know more about DC superheroes and the DCEU, go check out Superheroes. Our buddies at Superhero Stuff You Should Know. They're talking about it pretty much all of the time. Much love to those guys. And I'm always game for these movies. I love superheroes and stuff. And part of the reason we started OHCA is to have a safe space to have our opinions. They don't even have to be heard, but they're just a dump. This is where we're putting our bold statements and our opinions. And so if that's not your vibe, then don't leave the group, but certainly don't chastise us for having opinions. But anyway, out of 10 ineffective golden Wonder Woman armors, how much do you give this one?
Oh, Jesus. Like a 4 out of 10, maybe? I don't know. Should I go lower? I mean, there's stuff I like, so I think a 4 is solid because I did like some performances. There was that one really funny joke I liked. Yeah, 4 sounds good. 4 sounds all right.
Yeah, 4. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and give it, just because I don't think I'll ever watch it again. I did enjoy the second half, as much as I could. The first half was really tough to get through, so I'm gonna give it. I'll give it a 4 as well. I think we could give it a solid 4 collectively for 1D. I don't recommend it unless you're already invested in seeing it. I think everybody probably seen it by now. So no big deal. Thanks for listening to our 2 cents about it. We'll have more bold statements and opinionated comments to come with more DC movies, I'm sure. And with that, I don't know. That's kind of all we had planned.
Yeah.
With like I said, with every. Yeah,
it's definitely been a weird day. This is just
random loose conversation for the next 20 minutes. You seen anything lately that you really enjoyed besides what we talked about?
I watched Soul.
Oh yeah,
the new Pixar movie. It was pretty adorable. I laughed, I cried.
I don't like being happy. I don't like feeling emotions, and I don't like people teaching me lessons. So I don't
my favorite part of that movie, since we're really terrible with names here, she's in a lot of Taika Waititi movies. She's in Hunt for the Wilder People. She plays like she's the bigger lady that's in that. She does the voice of a character in Soul, and it's so good. I love her delivery of the way she delivers dialogue is amazing.
She's of Maori descent, as far as Maori descent. Man, we'll get on these actor and actresses' names. We can remember titles and directors. That's kind of.
And then I watched a movie called Spree that's on Hulu.
Yeah, I gotta watch that.
And it's got Joe Carey in it from Stranger Things. I'm rewatching season 2 and 3 with my dad. I think he's a really good actor. I'd like to see him in, I'd like to see him in maybe a comic book. I don't know, man, a Gambit or something. I don't know.
He'd be a good
or
long
just
shot.
Something like that. I just am enamored by his presence on the screen, and I think he's great in Stranger Things, especially that 3rd season. I think he's just him and Dustin and Robin, I think is her name, the newest character.
Yeah, that's Ethan
the 3 of them is
daughter.
One. Yeah, it's one of my favorite. Maya Hawk or something, or Mia Hawk. I don't know. It was a cool movie. It was fun to watch. But also, if you take a lot of Lyfts or Ubers, probably don't watch it because there are crazy people out there. But to watch him go from this guy who's trying to create this this online personality, and it just like people don't get it. They don't like him. He doesn't have the presence, even though it'll go to this kid he used to babysit who's really popular and is just like the biggest douchebag. And this guy's just trying to like give like self-help advice and be like kind of cool. And it's, it's just, that's all he cares about is getting these hits and getting these likes, and seeing from him going from, I'm going to start murdering people in my, Uber. It's called, the name of the app is called Spree, and Killing Spree. Get it? Oh my god!
It's been recommended in the group.
So I watched it because I forget who recommended it, but I was like, oh, that's cool. And so I went to Hulu and I couldn't find it. My sister watched it, so I had to search for it because I thought they took it off, and I was like, what? Really? Why? But it was a fun watch. I enjoyed it. There is a weird thing that happens in the movie that maybe I just turned away for a second, but I was like, wait, how does he not have a windshield now? But for those who haven't seen it, let me know.
I have a habit. I like to draw when I watch movies sometimes. So sometimes there's things I miss and I have to go rewind.
I also just
curb that.
Well, I also get I try to set my phone down and like pay attention to what I'm watching. But there's that little ding you get and you go, oh, what'd I get? Did I get a like? I need to know. And then I end up scrolling on Facebook and reading about some bullshit. And I'm like, now I got to rewind like 30 minutes of this fucking movie now to rewatch it all.
It's an addiction. I swear I'll be looking at the screen, and then I'll be looking at my phone all of a sudden and be like, wait, what the hell? It's like falling asleep in class or something. Like you're awake and then all of a sudden you're waking up again. You're like, what happened? That happens to me too often. These devices, man, they're taking over.
Same. Something else I did finish that was recommended by Wolfie, Steffi, Warrior, season 1 and 2. That shit's dope. Why are people not watching this?
It's on HBO Max now. Go watch it.
I know. I bought the first season, and literally a day after it came out on HBO Max. I'm not upset. I'm glad someone's getting that money. And if $10 went for them to make a third season of Warrior, then take my money, please.
I
also sent it to my dad because my dad he doesn't have internet, so he only has satellite dish TV, and we just watched Into the Badlands, all 3 seasons, which is good. Kind of wish there was more, because for me, its third season really gets its stride, and starts opening up this world a lot more. I feel like they're like, well, you only get one more season. Here's a bunch of money to make it flesh it out more, and you're like, damn it. But he was just like super into, just super into the martial arts action that was in it. And I started watching Warrior, and I was like, to me, this is a much better martial arts action. It's more based in a reality, whereas they do a lot of more of the Crouching Tiger kind of stuff in Into the Badlands, which is cool. I like that stuff as well. I mean, I guess it's just classic Kung Fu movie stuff, but
which is something we've talked about covering at some point, doing some martial arts episodes. Maddie and I are both huge classic martial arts fans.
We got a question, Stefan.
Like this. Yeah,
you got a question. I'm gonna let you take this one.
Oh yeah, Matt Lefferts asked, "What's Warrior about?" So allegedly, it's based on Bruce Lee's writings that were going to be formulated into a television show back in the 60s that ended up becoming hijacked by Warner Brothers and being turned into Kung Fu with David Carradine. I don't know how true that is, but it's definitely a marketing point for this show. But allegedly, it's about Bruce Lee's wanting to tell a story during San Francisco in the late 1800s and the development of like Chinese or the what would you say, the assimilation of Chinese culture into American culture. And it's, you have conflicts with the Irish, you have conflicts with the Chinese and the
police,
the police, I don't want to say Native Americans, but the Americans that are there, and a lot of racism. Essentially, the best way I could describe it is like Deadwood with Kung Fu.
Yeah, that's a really good. Yeah,
yeah. It's pretty intense. It's pretty extreme. Lots of nudity, lots of swearing, lots of violence. But some of the best TV, great writing, great acting. The lead guy, Andrew Koji, he's amazing. He's going to be a star. He's already probably well on his way. He's like if Bruce Lee and Keanu Reeves had a baby together, and pop,
that's true too.
There he is. He's great. Also, my boy Joe Taslim, he was in The Raid Part 2, I believe. I think, he was in the second Raid. I'm not sure if he was in the first one.
Is that his little buddy?
I forget who he played in The Raid. I haven't seen those in a while. But he was.
But also in Warrior, is he in the play?
So Joe Taslim, he's an antagonist to the main character Assam, and he's a great martial artist and a fantastic actor. And I believe he's of Indonesian descent. He's going to play Sub-Zero.
But it's like,
which
one's that one?
So sorry, to answer your first question, Joe Taslim is the right hand to Assam's sister. He's got the big thick eyebrows.
Gotcha.
He's an incredibly gifted martial artist, as you'll see in the show, as well as an incredibly gifted actor. This dude has chops. In fact, everybody in this show has chops. It's a predominantly Asian cast. They're taking Hollywood by storm. I'm really excited for this. And Shang-Chi and all the things that are coming out. Mortal Kombat's going to come out soon. Oh, Joe Taslim's playing Sub-Zero. My dude from Twilight Samurai is playing Scorpion. Anyway, that might suck, but it's going to have some good shit, I think, I hope. Go watch it.
I mean, honestly, it's the kind of the way I go into the Jurassic Park films now. If it's got dinos in it, I'm game. I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat movie, if it's got good action, I'm game. What story?
Apparently
I don't really care.
Yeah, and the more recent games have really fleshed out a lot of inspiration for what could be the story on film, and it's not so bad. It's, a little goofy, it's a little bit over the top, but that's Mortal Kombat. And if they even do like a paint by numbers kind of thing, it'll be pretty decent. And it's supposed to be insanely gory, produced by James Wan, and it's got a great cast. So we'll see. It could just be really fun. It could be really fun. I'm excited for Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, me too. Would love to see a poster, some stills, something.
I was just going to. I was going to do this earlier, but then we were kind of paring things down. But they just released a new poster art for Mortal Kombat, and of course I can't find it now.
Who plays the little dude with knives in Warrior? Have you seen that guy in anything else? Because I love him. He is my favorite.
He has always, I have seen his face a lot, and I want to say he's turned up as like the token Asian guy in a lot of shows and movies. I have seen this guy before, and not until Warrior has he had a chance to really shine, and he's also a fantastic actor, great character. Anytime the fights break out and he rips out his two knives.
I love the fact that you think this guy is going to be, because he's like the son of this Tong, which is a gang essentially. And there are two Tongs basically. Well, there's like three, but there's like two main Tongs in San Francisco.
There's a Mongol Tong.
Yeah, and it's great. But I just love because he's like the son of this like Tong leader that you're just like, oh, he's going to be that guy who can't really fight or hold his own, and he needs Assam to like be. Assam's basically Bruce Lee. Yeah, and it's like this guy can scrap, dude. It's so cool. He just doesn't do martial arts. He's just really good with knives.
Yeah,
he does kind of some martial arts, but it's more knife based and more like I'd say it's more of like I don't know. But I like that
pull up the names of these people. Some bullshit. I guess
because we're streaming right now.
Yeah,
the internet won't let you have two things at once.
Won't let me have it. But I promise one day I'll know more names. And
I could also just look this up. I thought you just knew because I don't know. I love that character though. Him and Assam. I kind of no spoilers, but I'm ready for season 3.
Everybody in the show, all the characters are very compelling. Every story that's told from all the different angles, all the actors are really good. There's maybe a few side actors who are kind of cringy. I don't know, but I didn't really look for it. But it's a great show. I can't recommend Warrior enough. I hope people start watching it. I hope people start watching it to the point that I'm sick of hearing about Warrior. I doubt I will be, but it's a good show.
No, we'll just go. I'll remember when we live streamed about this on 1/6/2021, and now it's 2022, and no one watched it, and it's canceled. I'll remember you. I'll remember all of you.
Yeah, exactly. I would hate for it to get canceled and not get that third season, but I am extremely grateful for the first 2 seasons that we have gotten, and the story is it's really just starting to mount up. The real conflicts between the main antagonists and protagonists, and the other character who showed up this last season with the chain. He's like their boy.
Oh, dude, I love that guy.
When he first shows up, I know I suck with names. I'm sorry. Just go watch the show. You'll know what I'm talking about.
There's also IMDb, which we could look up, but we're not going to. So
yeah, the internet's messing with me. But yeah, I'll be more prepared next time. Holidays. I'm still holidays. That's my excuse.
Still fat and happy.
We're just here. We're just hanging out. This is a movie club. But anyway, I digress. You see that guy come off the boat, and I hate to use that phrase like that exactly, but that's exactly what happens. And you don't really think much of him, and they kind of write him that way. But then as his character progresses and gets more involved with the two main characters, you start to really love this guy. And that's just the quality of writing in the show, is you actually really feel something for, I think, pretty much every character. The only character I really didn't enjoy seeing was the mayor on screen. But he served his purpose, and that's and he was written as such, and he's good too.
I don't really care about the mayor and the wife.
Yeah. The wife. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see where they go with the wife character, because now
every time they popped up, I was like, "Get me back to the characters I love."
Yeah, I mean, we showed up for Assam.
Yeah, that's that's what I showed up for. I mean, I get that they have to kind of do this. Enrich the world is what I would say, of more of like the political dealings, because you're only getting like, when you're with Assam and that cast, you're kind of only getting that world in Chinatown in San Francisco. So they kind of need to, with like the Irish cops and the Irish people in it, and then like the government and politicians in the area. That's kind of reminded me of like it's kind of got like a Wire vibe to it as well, because they get into like the politics and like what stuff went on. Right. One guy I think is great, but I hate him, is the mayor's assistant.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen to that guy, but oh my God, I hope it's good.
Yeah. That guy
is he's really such a good villain.
Yeah. He really digs deep, dark. That guy's a dark character, and they played into a little bit of his story, I think, in this last season, which was cool. A little bit of his backstory, which gave him more dimension. You know what I mean? And like, I know. That's the thing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, that's the thing I like about it. I feel like every character you meet has a good backstory, even if you like. To me, the mayor and the mayor's wife and her sister are like throwaways, but they get good backstory, and you can decide if you like them as actors or if you just don't care about their backstory. And when you have like hatchet gangs in the streets of Chinatown, you just want to go with the hatchet gangs. You always want to go back to the martial arts. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I don't care that much about white politics in 1884 or whatever the year is.
Yeah. It's a good balance. And what I was going to say is, like, I know I can be really harsh when I dislike something. I can go to the nth degree and want to like pummel it. But it's only because when stuff like this comes along and the writing is so good, and even the villains, you love to hate them, and there's just something about how well it's executed, or how inspired it is, that just really, no complaints here. You mentioned Warrior to me, you're not going to hear any negative comment about Warrior. You mentioned Wonder Woman or something, I got shit for days, and there's a reason for that, because I think nowadays, you like what you want to like. No judgment here, really. Honestly, nobody's trying to make you feel dumb or anything like that, but there is something to be said about a level of quality that shouldn't be brushed under the rug just because things are fun. Like, things are fun, but other things are very compelling and inspired and textural.
Matt's got another question for us.
Another question. Did you guys like Ozark? I watched all of that at the beginning of 2020, and it feels like a lifetime ago. I have not seen an Ozark. I have heard many a good thing.
I've seen an Ozark.
Have you seen it, Matty?
Yeah, I've seen all 3 seasons.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'll leave this one. How do you like it?
I do like Ozark. It's my roommate refuses to watch Breaking Bad, and I don't understand why. I really enjoy that show. I get it. I mean, it just, because Ozark to me is like a new Breaking Bad, basically. And I'm like, oh, if you really enjoy this, I think you'll really like Breaking Bad. And he'll like watch the first episode. That. Yeah, well, basically, he just is a big Ozark fan, and I don't get it. Like, why wouldn't you want to watch other good television in the vein of this other good television you're watching? He just won't do it. I don't get it. I'm thinking about ending the friendship, honestly. But Matt, I don't remember anything that happened in season 3. because it did come out at the beginning of 2020.
Yeah.
Me and my roommates, we sat down and watched it together, had a great time. I don't remember anything. It's been a crazy, last year was crazy.
Yeah. I would like to get on it. On a visual note, it just hasn't struck me as something that I really kind of get into. I think lately
Same.
I've been really into like science fiction. I've been really into martial arts, and I am grateful for all the recommendations that we get in the group, and I there's a lot of weight to those recommendations. So I hope to get to it soon. I'd like to watch. We've heard a lot about it from our buddies from Andrew, our buddy at Superhero Stuff You Should Know. He likes Ozark quite a bit. I love Jason Bateman. It seems real good, but kind of gravitating more towards the compelling Asian tales or the compelling African American stories that are coming out lately. That stuff, kind of like the cultural, what am I trying to say here? The things that have just a little bit more color, we'll say, lately have gotten my attention, and I'll get to Ozark for sure. I've still yet to see The Queen's Gambit, and we got another question. Thank you, Matt, for the questions. Thanks for sticking with us and hanging out at the club. It's one of our club members here.
Do you watch this?
Okay, he asks, how do you think The Expanse is going to handle Alex's character leave? Do you think they'll kill him or just send him away? Matt, you're going to be incredibly disappointed by my answer. I do not like how, I'll say it this way, I have yet to get hooked on Expanse. I've tried a few times, but in my opinion, I think it suffers from the same thing that DCEU movie suffers from, where like a lot of the supporting cast, a lot of the main cast in The Expanse, in my opinion, humble opinion, they're all super basic. I don't really care for any of them. I don't really like them. They all have extremely punchable faces. And I love Tom Jane.
Tom Jane?
I love Tom Jane. I think he's good. I think the realistic space environments and the world that they've built is really cool. But I gotta tell you, one of the things that really turns me off to any movie, video game, or TV show is when you get like some weird ethnic lingo speak going, especially in the future. I got to the point in the first few episodes or something where you get introduced to the elongated alien human people that have lived in space, so they're like taller or whatever, and they got this weird Rastafarian kind of thing going on when they be talking, and I'm just like, I honestly can't watch white people talk like that. And I don't mean to bring race in. I don't even like to say the word white, but it's the same thing that like Horizon Zero Dawn, the video game, you have these like Caucasian people talking in Rasta accents. I can't do it. I just can't do the futuristic ethnic lingo. I think some things handle this well, but in my opinion, with The Expanse, that's kind of what my turnoff was, that and those other reasons. So I apologize, Matt, that we can't gush over it with you. I know it's got a huge fandom, and I was happy to see that it was saved a little while back and put on Amazon. I would like to watch it. Maybe I'm just being a snob here, a hipstery snob, and you go ahead and let me know if that's the truth, and I love to admit I'm wrong, so thank you.
I just fell out of it. I just watched a couple episodes and was like, I'm not really into this, and I haven't gone back. I mean, I see all the ads and the way people respond to it. It seems like something I should like jump on to, but
Cloud Atlas was another one. I cannot watch a Tom Hanks movie anymore after that True and the Big Bang Boom shit. Can't do it. I didn't even watch Cloud Atlas. I can't look at the man. Cloud Atlas, long, boring, and then that stuff. I get it. It's very creative, we'll say, and interesting, and probably something we will see in the future state, the future scape of our humanity or something, seeing all these different cultures arise in space or different planets. And, maybe I'm just talking out of my ass here, but it's cringy to me. The true. Tom Hanks is done. I have a running list of celebrities that I just don't take seriously anymore. However, I have examined this list, and I think I might be an ageist.
They're all a bunch of old people.
They're all old, yeah. No more Denzel Washington, no more Brad Pitt, no more Tom Cruise, no more Vin Diesel, no more Jason Statham, no more The Rock. Come on, get this guy off the screen, please. But that's my world. If you're fans
You
of
also
them,
don't like Jason Momoa though,
oh,
so
I hate Jason Momoa.
there you go. You're done with him. He's the one young guy on your list.
Yeah. I just want to say I don't hate everything. I really don't. I know I can sound snobbish at times, but I like stuff. I just think certain people should not be allowed to be on screen. Anyway, that's me just now. I'm bullshit, and now I'm just letting my prejudice show. I love movies. I love the craft of acting and the craft of movie making. And I'm happy for these guys. They're successful. They got their fan bases. But you couldn't pay me to watch The Rock in anything. Seriously. Matt chimes in. Your point about the accent is totally fair, but as far as sci-fi goes, if you liked Raised by Wolves, have not seen it yet. Apologies. I think Maddie's seen it. I feel The Expanse is a better, less absurd show in a similar tone. Hell yeah. All right, I will take that in a spoonful. I will give it another chance. Take it as a dare, Maddie. What if we watch the first season of Expanse and see how we feel?
Let's do it.
All right, we'll be back with that. We'll schedule that in. We'll talk about it. We'll bring Matt in for his opinion on it, because I don't want anybody to feel like just because I don't like something, that's like I'm authority on something. Maddie left me. I'm just kidding. We're just kind of bullshitting right now. But, you know, good shows are good shows, and we'll give it a shot. I'll give it another shot. I think maybe I'll get over my prejudices, and I'll get past the things that I believe are cringy. You'll hear about it. I mean, the club is not called the happy-go-lucky everybody's right movie club. So, you know, I just wanted to provide a safe space for the overly opinionated, and you know, we do it in a peaceful manner. I think when we started the group, I think it could have gone either way. It could have been a lot of fighting. It could have been a lot of bad shit. But I think, you know, more or less the title is more or less a joke. I actually like quite a bit of stuff. You know, we had a whole thing when we did Superhouse about how Pacific Rim I thought was great and honestly better than the first one.
I agreed. Still stand true to that.
Yeah, and Andrew, our good buddy Andrew from Superhero Stuff You Should Know,
that's a good question.
Vehemently agrees or disagrees. My bad. We got another question from Matt. Wonder Woman 84 better or worse than Thor 2? Honestly, I do want to say that Wonder Woman 84 is more entertaining than Thor 2. I will say that. I'll say it's more entertaining than Thor 2 and Iron Man 2. For sure.
Dang. Yeah, I'd say that too.
For sure. You know, there's, Wonder Woman 84 has gotten a lot of flack. It actually made a ton of money. I mean, it made the most money for a movie this year, I think. And which probably isn't saying much due to the pandemic and everything, but the direction from Patty Jenkins is commendable. She does a good job. I'm very excited for Rogue Squadron. I think,
when I saw Wonder Woman 84, after I finished it, I went, oh Lord, what's going to happen with Rogue Squadron now? I got a little nervous, to be honest.
Yeah, nowadays, there is something to be said, especially for me being as snobbish as I can be at times. I don't want to say snobbish. I don't think I'm snobbish. Opinionated, for sure. Is nowadays, people are trying. And especially after the pandemic, everybody's thirsty for content. And I think we're willing to pull back some of our expectations and pull back some of our sensibilities for the sake of man, at least we're still getting some, good entertainment flowing in our way. It could have, not that I think that would have happened, but the pandemic could have had a much worse effect on the industry than probably it has. I don't know if that's true, but it could have. I don't know. I don't know how things could have gotten any worse due to the current social political climate. And hey, 2021, we're in it. Happy New Year, by the way, to everyone watching. I think, man, unless you got anything else, I think it'd be a nice moment to maybe wrap her up. Thank you, Matt, for the questions and stuff. Please, for those of you watching and those of you in the club, come join us during the live streams and throw us some questions and comments. Really, one of the funnest parts about this is when people chime in and we can kind of interact with you guys, and we really love that. So more of that, please. And what else? Let me just do the plugs here at the end. I'll be more organized next time. Join us next Wednesday. I think that's roughly our schedule here. Join us next Wednesday for another episode. Not sure what we're gonna watch or review just yet.
Maybe the
perhaps
Expanse
we'll talk
season
The
one.
Expanse. Yeah. We got a week. We can watch it in a week, I think. I'd be down for that. Hey, maybe let's try that. Also want to get into a little bit more of these like semi-obscure kind of indie gonzo films. That was one of my favorite moments from ARCHENEMY, actually, is when Hamster's talking about Hunter S. Thompson and he says gonzo or whatever, and I was like, this guy's a pretty decent writer. He's referencing somebody from outside without it being like it felt very natural. And then when he said gonzo, I was like, yes, this movie is exactly that.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was cool. If you'd like to support our efforts here, I know had kind of a rocky start, but we're chilling, we're having fun. If you'd like to throw us a little something, help us out during this pandemic, or help us develop the show further, please go to patreon.com/overlycriticalmovieclub. I should have more stuff up there. We'll have some more merch soon. Go to tpublic.com and search for the Overly Critical Movie Club. We got a couple t-shirts on there. Thank you, Matt Herring, for buying the Travis tee that I put up, a caricature tee of Travis Bickle from Taxi Driver. And go ahead and send us a picture if you can of you wearing it. That would be really awesome. Post it to the group if you can. That'd be super tight. If you want to catch us on Instagram, I'm Wolfie Cruz today. Oh, I thought I changed this. Hot damn it. So it's not Cruzco Comics anymore. As much as I'd like to get into doing some comics creation, I have a few other projects that I'm kind of working on now, so I don't foresee that happening anytime super soon. So I changed it, actually, and we'll do it better, but I changed it to Wolfie Cruz Art. So and Old Beardo, at Old Beardo on Instagram for Matty, for his art and stuff. And then also, please go check out the Colfax and 15th Facebook page. Give us a like. I've been putting up different updates and posts on a definitive version of a feature-length film that I worked on with other Denver filmmakers and actors in 2010 or 2009, 2010. And I got a definitive cut coming out with added music and just things to kind of push it to a little bit more of a professional feeling level. It's really coming along great. I was hoping to have that by Christmas, but it's probably just going to happen here in the next couple weeks, the release. So I'll keep you updated. Please go to the page, give us a like, and check out the trailers and the clips that we got. Pretty good stuff. Other than that, I think that's it for me. Thank you all for joining and watching the Overly Critical Hyperanalytical Movie Club. For those checking it out on YouTube or checking it out later, thank you so much. We'll be back with more juicy movie news and content and trailers and gripes and opinions and bold statements to boot. I'm Wolfie, signing off.
It's Maddie. Bye-bye.